How did I go from a small city in Australia to photographing the game at his One Blood music video in Compton with a $150 camera? So stay tuned to see how working with a cheap camera but a creative mind can change your life.
Let's go, Rush!
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. When I was 22 years old, I had a community radio show called Hot 91. One day I got the chance to interview DJ Ski, who happened to be the game's official DJ back then. So this was my first stop thinking, just jump moment. At the end of the interview with DJ Ski, I asked him if I could get an internship with him. He said yes, and then boom, 6 weeks later, without giving it much thought, I jumped on a plane and landed in LA. My initial plan was to go to LA for 3 months. I had very little money, I was extremely shy, and this was going to be the longest period I'd ever been away from home. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. Once I started my internship with Ski, he made me feel extremely welcome as I assisted him on various projects as I got my first real taste in the music industry. In 2006, The Game was one of the biggest rappers in the world, and he was actually in the middle of a huge beef with 50 Cent.
You know me, Mr. Throw his chain in the crowd. Give me the G in the chain.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh, shit.
So you can see it's authentic. Fuck this chain. Have that.
The Game was filming his One Blood music video, so Ski asked me to come along and assist and help out where I could. I took my $150 point and shoot digital camera with me. This camera is 4 megapixels, and to give you guys a comparison, your standard iPhone these days takes 12 megapixels per photo. I initially bought this Olympus camera back in 2006 for $150, and I just found it on eBay. It's currently going for $6.75. Back in the day, digital cameras weren't as accessible as they are today. There was no such thing as camera phones. This is 2006. We're talking old school here, ladies and gentlemen. So when I arrived at the music video in Compton, you can imagine being a kid from Australia, going to a notoriously tough neighborhood with a lot of intimidating figures. It was quite a daunting task. Once I got comfortable and realized everyone that was there was super cool, I waited for the right opportunities to take my photos. There were a lot of LA rappers there on the day. I even saw Snoop and Tyrese turn up at one stage, so I knew this was a big opportunity for me and I had to make the most of it. Oh, by the way, can you recognize who this rapper is? If you're enjoying the content on my channel, there's also a good chance you're gonna like my newsletter. It's a free exclusive email that I send on a regular basis, sharing what motivates me through YouTube, podcasts, athletes, hip hop art, and more to help inspire you. I've put the newsletter link below in the description of this video. Even though I had a very basic camera with me, I made a point of focusing on the advantages I had on the day. In this case, being a good observer, capturing key moments, and using the natural light to my advantage. As it's turned out, this music video has become an iconic moment in the game's career, gaining 35 million views on YouTube, hence making these photos an extremely important moment in time. What I want you guys to take away from this is not getting caught up in the gear. Far too many people get caught up and worried about having expensive camera gear. Even if you have an iPhone or a cheap camera, you can still take timeless images. One element that adds to this process is the post-production. Now I'll show you how editing these photos with a good color grade takes it to a whole nother level. So I'm not gonna go into a huge tutorial about the color grade. Firstly, I'm gonna show you guys some before and after edits here so you can really see what a big difference the color grading makes to these images. Over my photography career, I've shot a lot with 35mm film. So I personally love a really grainy and vintage look to my photography. As this camera is only 4 megapixels, the quality isn't incredible, but once you add some grain to the images, it really does come up looking like it could have been shot on a point and shoot film camera. As you can see here, I've also played around with the blues, giving it quite a strong turquoise look, plus taking out a lot of the saturation from these images. So all things considered, this being a $150 camera, I'm really happy with the moments I captured at this music video. If you can't afford a professional camera right now, I hope that this can inspire you to push the limits of the gear or the camera phone that you have at the moment. I got my first photography feature in an Australian magazine called Rhyme and Reason. Opportunities to photograph other hip-hop artists. And man, I had the game record an intro for my mixtape called California Dreamin', which led to me touring around Australia as a DJ.
Yo, it's the motherfucking game in the building with the homeboy DJ Rush. And I'm in the motherfucking rush cause I got 2 motherfucking Japanese bitches waiting to pick me up from the airport in one of them bulletproof Tahoes. Hey yo, DJ Rush, just throw that shit on, man. Jump in the car, man. These bitches gonna give us some sucky and some fucky. Yo, we gone, man. Drop it.
I have these photos hanging in my studio, and not only do they make for a good story, like this one, but 15 years later, these photos are still opening up doors of opportunities for me. And most of all, I have these memories for a lifetime, and I still pinch myself asking if this really happened. If you've made it this far into the video, firstly, thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe because soon I'll be making a much more in-depth video about my internship in Los Angeles.